Have you ever looked at a modern RV and thought it was unusual? If so, you're about to discover vehicles that make today's campers look completely ordinary. Long before luxury motorhomes and high-tech overlanding rigs dominated the roads, inventors and engineers were building some of the strangest camping vehicles ever imagined. These weren't just recreational vehicles, they were rolling experiments that challenged conventional thinking and pushed the limits of automotive design. Some looked like spaceships, others resembled miniature houses balanced precariously on pickup trucks, and a few were so bizarre that people genuinely questioned whether they should be allowed on public highways. In this countdown, we're traveling back through automotive history to uncover 10 of the weirdest, rarest, and most fascinating vintage truck campers ever created. From tiny Volkswagen-based homes on wheels to massive multi-level camping structures that seem to defy physics, each of these vehicles tells a story of creativity, ambition, and occasionally questionable engineering decisions. Make sure you stay until the very end, because our number one camper is so unbelievably tall and complex that many people still can't believe it was ever sold to the public. So grab your maps, start the engine, and let's explore the most unusual truck campers ever built. Number 10. The Super BUGGR. When most people think of a camper vehicle, the Volkswagen Beetle is probably the last machine that comes to mind. Small, underpowered, and never intended to carry a house on its back. Yet during the late 1960s and 1970s, a group of creative builders looked at the iconic Beetle and saw something completely different. They saw potential. The result was the Superbugger, one of the strangest camper conversions ever produced. At first glance, it looked like someone had attached a miniature cabin directly onto the rear of a Volkswagen, and that's essentially what happened. Builders removed the rear portion of the Beetle's body and replaced it with a compact camper structure complete with sleeping space, cooking facilities, and basic living accommodations. Despite its tiny size, the Superbugger offered everything necessary for minimalist road trip adventures: a small stove, compact seating, storage compartments, and enough room for two people to travel comfortably, at least in theory. The biggest challenge wasn't space. It was power. Because underneath the unusual bodywork remained the Beetle's original air engine, producing only modest horsepower. It struggled with the added weight and dramatically reduced aerodynamics. Strong crosswinds became a serious concern. Steep hills felt like mountain expeditions, and maintaining highway speeds often required patience. Lots of patience. Yet despite these limitations, the Superbugger became a cult classic among enthusiasts who appreciated its creativity and uniqueness. Today, surviving examples are incredibly rare and highly collectible. What was once considered a quirky experiment has become an important piece of camper history. And while the Superbugger proved that almost any vehicle could become a camper, the next machine on our list took a completely different approach. Instead of converting a small car, Chevrolet attempted to create the ultimate factory-built off-road camper. The result was both brilliant and slightly terrifying. Number 9. Chevrolet Blazer. Walking into a Chevrolet dealership in the 1970s and purchasing a factory-built four-wheel drive camper straight from the showroom floor. No aftermarket modifications. No custom conversions. Just one vehicle designed to take you from city streets to remote campsites without missing a beat. That was the promise behind the Chevrolet Blazer Chalet. At the time, most campers were bulky, heavy, and poorly suited for off-road travel. Chevrolet believed there was a better solution. Their answer was to combine the rugged K5 Blazer with a specially designed camper module developed alongside RV experts. The result was unlike anything else on the roadie. Instead of placing a removable camper in the truck bed, engineers fully integrated the living space into the vehicle. Drivers could move directly from the front seats into the camper area without ever stepping outside. Inside, owners found sleeping quarters, a compact kitchen, storage compartments, and everything needed for weekend adventures. For outdoor enthusiasts, it sounded perfect, a true four-wheel drive, motorhome. Unfortunately, reality proved far more complicated. The camper section added significant weight, high above the vehicle's center of gravity. Suddenly, the once capable off-roader felt top-heavy. Sharp turns became nerve-wracking. Steep trails demanded caution, and rough terrain could quickly remind drivers just how much weight they were carrying overhead. Despite its shortcomings, the Blazer Chalet remains one of the most fascinating factory-built campers ever produced. Collectors today view it as a rare example of a manufacturer willing to experiment with bold ideas. May not have been perfect, but it certainly wasn't boring. Number 8. The ULTRAVA. If aliens had decided to build a motorhome in the 1960s, it probably would have looked something like the Ultra Van. Nothing about this vehicle appeared normal. Its rounded shape, its futuristic styling. Its aircraft-inspired construction. Everything about it seemed decades ahead of its time. The mastermind behind the Ultravan was David Peterson, an aircraft engineer who believed traditional motorhomes were unnecessarily heavy and inefficient. Rather than building another box on wheels, he applied aerospace principles to recreational vehicles. The result was revolutionary. The Ultravan featured lightweight aluminum construction similar to an aircraft fuselage. Instead of relying on a heavy steel frame, the body itself provided structural strength. This dramatically reduced weight while improving efficiency. For a vehicle measuring over 20 feet long, the Ultravan was shockingly light, and because of its smooth, aerodynamic design, it sliced through the air far more efficiently than traditional RVs. Inside, the futuristic theme continued. Large windows filled the cabin with natural light. The open floor plan felt spacious, and clever packaging maximized every available inch. Travelers enjoyed a kitchen, sleeping areas, storage space, and all the essentials required for extended adventures. Yet the Ultravan wasn't perfect. Its lightweight design relied on a relatively modest engine. When fully loaded and climbing steep mountain roads, performance could become painfully slow. Drivers often found themselves watching larger vehicles pass them with ease. Still, those who owned an Ultravan rarely cared. They weren't buying speed, they were buying innovation. Even today, many automotive historians consider the Ultravan one of the most advanced recreational vehicles ever created. Design philosophy continues to influence modern RV manufacturers. Decades later, and while the Ultravan looked like a spaceship, the next camper on our list attempted something even more ambitious. It tried to drive like a sports car. Number 7. Vixen 21TD. Motorhomes share several common characteristics. They're tall, they're heavy, and they handle like oversized boxers. The Vixen 21TD wanted to change all of that. Created by automotive engineer Bill Collins, who helped develop some of the most recognizable vehicles of his era. The Vixen represented a radical departure from traditional RV thinking. Instead of building upward, engineers built downward. The vehicle sat remarkably low to the ground. It's sleek, aerodynamic. The body looked more like a futuristic sports wagon than a motorhome. At highway speeds, the difference was immediately noticeable. The Vixen cut through the air with surprising efficiency. It remained stable in strong winds. And it delivered fuel economy figures that most RV owners could only dream about. Power came from a turbo diesel engine paired with a manual transmission. That combination alone made the Vixen unique. A time when most American RVs prioritized size over efficiency, the Vixen focused on driving dynamics. Owners often compared the experience to piloting a European Grand Touring vehicle rather than a traditional camper. The low center of gravity improved handling dramatically. Travel became more comfortable and fuel costs remained manageable. Yet, this innovation created a problem. Many RV buyers simply didn't understand it. Traditional customers expected towering interiors, oversized living rooms, and automatic transmissions. The Vixen offered something completely different: to stand fully upright inside. Owners often needed to raise a pop-up roof section. Its sporty driving characteristics appealed to enthusiasts but confused mainstream buyers. Despite its brilliance, sales remained limited. Production numbers stayed low. The company eventually disappeared. But decades later, the Vixen has developed a devoted following. Collectors and travelers now appreciate what many buyers missed when it was new: a motorhome that dared to be different. A vehicle that proved recreational travel didn't have to be slow, bulky, or inefficient. And believe it or not, the campers coming next become even stranger, because in Part 3, we'll explore the legendary Toyota Sunraider, the tank-like Clark Cortez, and one of the most beautiful motorhomes ever built. Number 6. Toyota Sunraider 4X. For long before social media influencers turned off-grid travel into a global trend, there was one camper quietly building a reputation for reliability, simplicity, and adventure. The Toyota Sunraider 4X. To many enthusiasts, this isn't just a camper, it's a legend. Built on Toyota's famously dependable pickup truck platform, the Sunraider combined compact dimensions with genuine off-road capability. Unlike massive motorhomes that struggled on narrow roads and rough terrain, the Sunraider could go places most RV owners would never dare attempt: mountain trails, remote campsites, desert backroads, forest paths. This little camper handled them all with confidence. Its secret was simplicity. The lightweight fiberglass shell kept overall weight manageable while providing durability that traditional wood campers often lacked. Unlike many RVs of the era, the Sunraider was highly resistant to leaks and structural deterioration. Owners quickly discovered that these campers could survive decades of hard use with surprisingly few problems. Inside, the layout was modest but practical: sleeping space, cooking facilities, storage compartments. Everything was designed with efficiency in mind. There was no wasted space, no unnecessary luxury. Just functional design focused on adventure. Yet the Sunraider wasn't entirely free from Problems. Early versions suffered from a serious mechanical issue involving the rear axle. The added camper weight placed enormous stress on components originally designed for lighter loads. In some cases, axle failures became a genuine concern. Fortunately, Toyota eventually addressed the problem through upgrades and recalls. Once corrected, the Sunraider's reputation for durability became almost unmatched. Today, surviving examples remain highly sought after by travelers and collectors alike. Because while many campers promise adventure, few have earned a reputation as strong as the Sunraider. Number 5. Clark Cortef. The Sunraider represented simplicity. The Clark Cortez represented ambition. Built during the early 1960s, the Cortez was unlike anything else available at the time. Most recreational vehicles relied on truck frames and conventional layouts. The Cortez took a completely different approach. Engineers at Clark Equipment Company wanted to build a motorhome from the ground up. And that's exactly what they did. The result was a fully integrated vehicle featuring all-steel construction and front-wheel drive technology years ahead of its competitors. This wasn't simply a truck carrying a camper, it was a purpose-built motorhome designed as a single unified machine. One of its biggest advantages was interior space because the vehicle used front-wheel drive. There was no large driveshaft tunnel running through the floor. The result was a flat interior that felt surprisingly spacious. Passengers could move around comfortably. Standing room improved dramatically. The living area felt far more open than competing designs for the early 1960s. This was revolutionary. Unfortunately, innovation came with consequences. The all-steel body made the Cortez incredibly heavy. Despite its advanced engineering, the vehicle often struggled with performance. Acceleration was slow. Hill climbs required patience. And maintaining highway speeds could become challenging. Rust also became a major concern over time. Without modern corrosion protection, many examples slowly deteriorated as the years passed. Yet despite these issues, the Cortez remains one of the most influential motorhomes ever built. Many of its design concepts appeared decades later in modern recreational vehicles. Its creators may have been ahead of their time, perhaps too far ahead. Number 4. GMC Motorhome. Every once in a while, a company creates a vehicle so unique that it remains iconic decades after production ends. The GMC motorhome is one of those vehicles. When General Motors entered the recreational vehicle market during the 1970s, they weren't interested in building just another camper. They wanted something revolutionary, and that's exactly what they delivered. At a glance, the GMC motorhome looked unlike anything else on the road. Its low, sleek profile stood in sharp contrast to the boxy motorhomes dominating highways at the time. Large panoramic windows, smooth aerodynamic lines, and futuristic styling gave it an appearance that still feels modern today. Underneath the body was equally impressive engineering. Instead of relying on traditional truck-based architecture, GMC developed a specialized front-wheel drive platform. This allowed the floor to sit lower to the ground while maximizing interior space. The result was better handling, improved stability, and a driving experience far superior to most competitors. Owners often described it as driving a luxury automobile rather than a large motorhome. Inside, the GMC offered comfort rarely seen in recreational vehicles of the era. Spacious living areas, premium materials, innovative layouts, and a level of refinement that helped redefine expectations for RV travel. Everything seemed perfect. Then reality intervened. The 1970s energy crisis changed everything. Fuel prices skyrocketed. Consumers suddenly prioritized efficiency, and the GMC motorhome's large V8 engine became difficult to justify. Despite its brilliance, market conditions worked against it. Production eventually ended, yet its reputation only grew stronger. The GMC motorhome is considered one of the most beautiful and innovative RVs ever built. Collectors invest significant time and money restoring them. Enthusiasts travel across the country to attend owner gatherings. And automotive historians continue to celebrate its groundbreaking design. Wasn't merely a motorhome. It was a vision of the future, and somehow, it still feels futuristic today. But believe it or not, the strangest campers are still ahead, because in our final part, we'll explore a homemade NASA-inspired camper, a fiberglass road trip icon, and a 3-story truck camper that seems to completely ignore the laws of physics.